I used to teach people how to stay calm, but I was too scared to open my own banking app. My name is Theo. I used to be a freelance life coach. I made online courses. I met clients on Zoom. I got paid through Stripe. Sounds pretty good, right? But my appointments were not steady. Refunds could happen at any time. And self-employment taxes did not just disappear. This is the story of my old job and how I finally faced my money problems head on. My work is not therapy, and I have to make that clear. I do not diagnose anyone, and I do not handle severe trauma. I help clients review their habits, work schedule, and choices. Each session has a check-in, a weekly goal, and a clear task. I use Zoom, Notion, Stripe, email, and automated scheduling. It sounds simple, but there is a whole system behind it. Without new leads every week, revenue drops fast. Some days I am the coach. Some days I am a salesperson, editor, and accountant. The hardest part is not sounding smart. It is turning a promise into results the client can actually feel. On Instagram, my life looked pretty polished. A corner of a wooden desk, black coffee, and an open notebook. Then a few lines about discipline, presence, and living slowly. People saw me take morning walks and meditate for 10 minutes. They saw me talk with clients on Zoom, looking very calm. Sounds amazing, right? But outside the frame were power bills and car insurance. There was also rent, software fees, and advertising costs. I once paid $79 a month for an email app I barely used. I also kept 3 scheduling tools because I feared missing clients. Emily asked me directly, how much money was really left after all costs? I went silent because I knew Stripe revenue was not take-home money. Behind a $200 coaching session, there were taxes, refunds, and card fees. That was my first lesson about personal branding. I did not start this career because I thought it would make me rich fast. Before that, I had a pretty solid office job, but I was always exhausted. Every morning I opened my laptop. Every night I closed it. Then I wondered what kind of life I was even living. After a stressful season, I turned to meditation and breathing exercises. I read books about habits and took a few coaching courses. At first, I only shared my own experience online. Someone messaged me and asked how I stayed disciplined. Then a second person asked about burnout. I took a few free calls, then started charging a low fee. My mistake was thinking that having clients meant having a business model. That was not true. Having the skill to help people was only one part. The rest was pricing, process, client retention, and cash flow. On the screen, my income looked pretty good. A private coaching session cost between $150 and $250. An online course was cheaper, but it could sell more with clear content. 1 month Stripe showed more than $6,000, and I thought I was fine. But that was revenue, not profit. After payment fees, software, ads, and self-employment tax, it fell. Add a few refunds, and the number fell even faster. I also had to set aside tax money every time I got paid. Otherwise, the end of the year could be painful. Many new coaches do not plan for that. They see money enter the account and spend it like an employee paycheck. I used to do that too. The real lesson was that every dollar of revenue needed a clear job. Taxes, expenses, debt payments, rent, and then the money I could use. The expenses that kept me stuck were not always big. They were small, repeated, and very easy to justify. I bought a new microphone because I thought better sound would sell courses. I paid for a pricier software plan because it looked professional. I paid for an upscale gym, coffee every morning, and organic food. I also paid for a few networking workshops. It all sounded so reasonable. But when Emily asked which expense actually brought in clients, I could not answer. I realized I was spending money to protect the image of a successful person. Not every investment is really an investment. Some spending is just anxiety wearing a personal growth label. My debt did not come from one reckless decision. It came from all the times I told myself next month I would catch up. A course for $997 to learn how to sell better. An ad campaign that ran too long, even though it brought no clients. A networking trip I told myself was necessary. Then my credit card balances started climbing. I still posted about discipline. I still told clients to face the truth. That stung, because I still could not bring myself to look at my balance. Sometimes I only paid the minimum so I would not feel like a failure. But the interest kept growing. The biggest pressure was not the debt number itself. It was the shame when Emily asked for my debt payoff plan. And all I had were a few vague excuses. I learned that avoiding money did not make me feel more peaceful. It only made the problem more expensive every month. I had one question that kept me up at night. Was I truly qualified to help others? I did not want to sell the image of someone who had fixed their whole life. Because the truth was, I was still fixing it piece by piece. I could help clients build schedules and keep their commitments. I could help them review habits and make better decisions. But I was not a doctor or a therapist. I should not pretend to be one. Boundaries in this work matter a lot. Some clients mentioned severe depression, trauma, or self-harm thoughts. The right move was to guide them toward a licensed professional. I learned that honesty built far more trust than looking perfect. The moment it clicked came on a very ordinary Thursday night. I opened my laptop after dinner. Liam was asleep, and Emily was washing dishes. I meant to check a few client emails. Then I saw an alert that my card was near its limit. I clicked it, and everything was suddenly clear. Credit card debt, software fees, ad costs, and taxes I had not set aside. I did not panic. I just felt ashamed. God, I had taught other people how to make plans. But my own family did not have a real plan. That night I pulled up a chair and sat with Emily. For the first time I stopped explaining. I just opened the spreadsheet and said, "This is the truth." Before, I thought success meant having no boss. Success meant choosing my own schedule and making money from something I loved. I loved sitting at a coffee shop at 10 in the morning, with my laptop open and no one watching me. It felt so free. But that kind of freedom was not worth much. Not if rent was still keeping me up at night. I started redefining success. For me now, success means knowing how much I need to live this month. It means knowing how much to save for taxes and how much to put toward debt. It means having an emergency fund and a clear sales calendar, and not discounting my services just because I am panicking. Real freedom needs discipline behind it. That night, Emily and I made a very simple spreadsheet. Nothing fancy, just money in, money out, debt, and due dates. The first step was to separate taxes as soon as money came in. I put 25% of revenue into a separate account and did not touch it. Then I canceled 3 tools I did not need and cut back on ads. I also stopped buying more courses before finishing the old ones. God, the monthly fees alone dropped by more than $300. I sorted the money in a clear order: rent, food, insurance, and debt. Only after that came personal spending. With the credit cards, I chose to pay the highest interest first. Every Monday morning, I reviewed the numbers with Emily for 20 minutes. No arguing, no blaming, just looking at the real numbers and deciding what to do that week. I also changed the way I coached. Before, my message was too broad. Live better, get clearer, feel more peaceful. It sounded nice, but clients had trouble knowing what they would get. Now I design a clearer program. It is 4 weeks on building a personal schedule and tracking habits. Then we work on energy management and decision making. Each client has a measurable goal. For example, they may go to bed on time more often. They may procrastinate less, or finish one specific project. I also say this clearly from the start. I am not a substitute for therapy or medical advice. That removes the pressure to act like I know everything. And strangely, when I became clearer, clients trusted me more. I used to think money and spiritual life were two separate things. But after that season, I saw how closely they were connected. If I talked about calm, but was always late on bills, it was not real calm. If I talked about responsibility, but did not know where money went each month, then my words had no real foundation. Meditation helped me pause before reacting, but a budget helped me see the truth on paper. Those two things needed to go together. I still sit quietly every morning, and I still practice breathing. But after that, I check my appointments, tax money, and debt. That does not sound very romantic, but it helps me live more honestly. The hardest part was telling Emily that I had been wrong. Not wrong just once, wrong in the way I looked at money for months. I used to call some expenses investments, but really I was afraid of looking small. I used to say I was busy growing the business, but I was avoiding checking the account. That hurt. But I did not want to use shame to beat myself up anymore. I needed responsibility, not drama. I apologized to Emily. Then I began fixing it with small actions. I wrote down spending and paid debts on time, and I stopped promising what I had not done yet. The biggest lesson I want to share is this: do not confuse money coming in with money left over. One $500 payment does not mean you have $500 to spend. Subtract taxes, platform fees, ads, software, and your own time. Lesson 2. Do not use credit cards to prove you are growing. If a tool does not help you get clients, keep clients, or save real time, cut it. Lesson 3. If you help others for a living, be clear about your limits. Clients need the truth, not someone acting perfect. And finally, set one fixed day each week to look at the numbers. Just 20 minutes is enough to see if you are on track or off track. I wish I had done that sooner. But at least now, I no longer measure success by appearances. I measure it by real money, lower debt, and peace when I come home. I do not end this story as someone who got rich overnight. There is no magic here. I still work as a coach and still sell online courses. I still have good weeks and slow weeks. But now I know where the money is going. I know when to sell, when to cut costs, and when to say no. Emily no longer has to pull me into money conversations. I open the spreadsheet myself every week. Liam is still little, but I want him to grow up seeing his dad live with responsibility. For me, starting over does not mean changing careers. Starting over means I stop acting like I am fine. Then I do each small thing the right way.